Yo, what's up guys? I am back with a loadout video for Day 1 Salvation's Edge, which is launching tomorrow. The raid race is here tomorrow. We are part of the Twitch Rivals event, so make sure you tab up on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Bergenstar. Link will be in the description below. You can claim all those exclusive emblems while watching me do the raid. This is the first time I'm racing as well, so I'm really excited for it. All the support would be very, very welcomed. All this video is going to be just to confirm, guys, I'm literally going over what I'm taking into the raid race tomorrow, all my loadouts, and how I set my loadouts up for a raid environment on contest mode. Let's get into it. The first build that we are going to take in is, I like to have a transition build. So Starfire Protocol is on, gives me double fusion grenades. Here's the subclass. We've got fusion grenades there, and the main thing to keep an eye on here, ignore the fragments. Icarus Dash and Heat Risers gives us double Heat Risers. Now, you're going to see a theme on these mods throughout the whole video. We are going to be using Siphons for orb creation, matching our weapon that we're using, Finders and Scouts, resist mods, Scavs, and special finishers. Now, the reason we don't use any Surges, guys, is because we make Surge swaps when we swap over to a damage loadout for bosses and things like that. In the rest of the content, if it's just an ad clear encounter, you don't need Surges. You just don't. 20 under, it's not as scary as it sounds. Trust me, you've just been doing Pantheon, you guys will kill it, I'm sure. So don't worry about surges on your like ad clearing loadouts on the lead up to something like a DPS fight and a boss. For the second loadout that we're taking in is going to be Mantle of Battle Harmony on Well of Radiance. So Mantle of Battle Harmony helps us get our well back really, really fast. And once we have our Well of Radiance, we get a 25% damage boost. So it's just a really, really solid exotic to run. Very, very neutral game exotic for raiding. Here's the subclass setup. Now, the thing to notice here is across all my well builds that I'm going to be using, including damage loadouts, you'll see that these fragments and aspects don't change. Now, the reason for that, as you'll see as we go through the each loadout. We keep them all in the same order. We keep them all in the same fragments and aspects so that if we're in the middle of an encounter and I need to make a swap to another build because something's going to be better for that situation at the time, I don't have to wipe, I don't have to re-rally, or anything like that. I can literally just swap the loadout because everything matches, and I keep all my abilities and my super. It works very, very well. It's very efficient, and it definitely helps me in terms of making swaps during a raid race. I know a lot of people like to do manual swaps. I don't personally like doing that. Here's a mod setup from this one. We've got orb creation from Siphons, Scouts and Finders for heavy ammo, resist mods, loader to match, scavs to match the heavy, special finishers to make special ammo for your teammates, powerful attraction. Like I said, you'll see this theme throughout the video. For the third loadout we're bringing in is going to be Phoenix Protocol. Phoenix Protocol is just a really, really good neutral game exotic to bring in. You guys have seen it over the past few seasons. Everyone's been running it in like Grandmaster Nightfalls, just rotating them to keep a Well of Radiance up for your teammates. Now, please keep in mind, Well of Radiance isn't the same as last season. It finally got that nerf. All them times I've said, nerf well! Now, it's officially happened. Well of Radiance is no longer as powerful, so be careful, okay? But it's still probably one of the best options that Warlock has. So Phoenix Protocol helps us get 50% of our super back from people standing in the well and getting kills. Subclass setup, Healing Grenade to keep us ×2 restoration going. We can extend resto with the fragments that we have on. We've got Benevolence, so we can get it back really fast from other teammates. We've got Torches. Oh, I forgot to mention as well, we have Ember of Torches on. Now, some people are going to say, why running Ember of Torches when we've got Radiant Orbs? I like my builds to work for themselves. I don't like the artifact to be able to choose how I run my build. So next season when they go away, these builds are still viable for you guys to use, and that's what I want them to be. I always want them to be end game ready. Yes, Radiant Orbs is a thing. I probably don't need this, but I'm going to keep it on anyway because I also like to just have the on-demand barrier pops up in front of me. I can throw my Radiant melee, boom, and I can break the barrier, no problem. Yes, we don't need it as much this season because of the artifact mod on here, Radiant Orbs. Moving on to the mods for this one. Like I said, same thing here. Siphons, Scouts and Finders, resist mods, Scavs, special finisher. Right, Warlocks, I hate to say it, but you know your role. Know your role, Warlocks. As you can see, Scuba Steve is here and he's reporting for duty. Cenotaph. Mods stay the same for this as anything else, especially like if you're on a Divinity as well. I like to use Kinetic Siphon though for my primary weapons to make orb creation if I'm running Div. Obviously, if you're just running a normal one, you can swap the Siphon out to whatever it's going to be. Same on this one. Everything stays the same. Fragments and aspects. Healing Grenade. We got Scavs. We got Special Finisher. All the mods pretty much stay the same. One thing to note. If you're on Div and you just don't need the well. There's a moving fight. Think Rolk from Vow of the Disciple. You don't need to be on Well of Radiance. You need a damage super. Now, most of the time we used to go Strand. I have took the turn and I'm going Prismatic. Now, the reason for Prismatic if I'm on Div is I get my Needle Storm for the damage. Now, Thread of Evolution, we don't get that, which we get on Strand, which is a fragment that makes our Threadlings do more damage. It's about a 200k difference, I think, in the damage of the super, and I don't think it's worth it over being able to have things like my Healing Grenade, you know, the Hellion, Feed the Void for Devour, Phoenix Dive, especially when I still get this Facet of Solitude. Now, Facet of Solitude, when you're on Divinity, landing rapid precision hits makes Divinity, the Div Cage makes Divinity do precision hits, so you are severing a target. Now, it says here, when Transcendent, the Severing Blast is bigger, but we don't need to worry about that. What we need is we need to sever bosses with Divinity, and the reason being for that, Sever will make a boss do 40% less damage to you when severed, and your teammates. It's a fragment you should never take off if you are the Divinity person in your fire team on Cenotaph Warlock. That goes for the same thing when you're marking like champs, or you're marking Subjugators or Tormentors or whatever. They will always do that. So I like to make my Cenotaph Warlock build very universal, so that it's easily swapped to there and my stats stay the same. Let's start on the first prismatic loadout that I am bringing in, a neutral game one. So say I'm not on Divinity, I want to build that I can load into the raid on and be like, I can clear ads, I can keep my teammates alive, I can keep me alive, and I have a damage super. So we're running the same thing. What I like to do here is, you could change this out for something else, the Solitude one, because, you know, I mean, you could leave it on, it's not going to hurt. But you can take it off too and swap it for something else if you decide to. Keep it the same though. And we have the Healing Grenade with the Speaker Sight, no exotic helmet to provide restoration for the teammates around, especially during damage. I can easily swap to a damage loadout of this build too. And this is where we're going to show you how I set up my damage loadouts. But the other build I want to make sure, I want to give you guys is, this is something I've been working on. It's a prismatic build with the new chest piece. Not even going to try and pronounce it because I'm British. We don't say T's. Yeah, I don't know what it says. So, you know, tell me in the comments how to pronounce it. Prismatic subclass, I like to use this fragment instead. I changed this one out for the Solitude one. It gives me volatile rounds on a grenade kill and unraveling rounds on a melee kill. I like to use like Grav Lance with this build, things like that. So I've always got Devour going. I get my grenades back really fast. And I've got volatile rounds going. Make a ton of ammo because I'm using an exotic primary. So there's a subclass setup. Here's the mod setup for this one. As you can see, the themes going on here. We've got a Siphon on, we've got Finders and Scouts, we've got Loaders, we've got Scavs, and we've got Special Finishers. Like I said before at the beginning of the video, feel free to take screenshots of all these. I will put dim links in the description below as well. Now moving on to damage loadouts, like I was saying. So we'll go back down to this one because this is where we're at. The difference in the damage loadout, right, is we obviously want to do more damage. This damage loadout matches this loadout because this is what it relates to. This is, if I'm going to be on this loadout in a fight, I swap to this loadout for damage. What makes this really good, it keeps everything neat and tidy, and it helps my brain when swapping. So as you can see, the colors match, and if it's a damage one, it's got swords. That's how I set it up. The only thing that we do different for damage loadouts, I build into 100 resilience, obviously to keep me alive, and then we have 100 intellect. There's no reason for these other stats during damage. You'll have a well, you'll have things like resto, you'll have all these different things you're going to be moving. If you die, you're probably going to just die. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, there's just not that needed. So we're building to 100 intellect because it just helps get your super back. Like on some occasions, like they take Blade Barrage Hunter, for instance, right? On a Rogue fight, if you have 100 intellect, sometimes you can potentially get that super back before damage phase is over and pop second Blade Barrage. It's kind of crazy, really, how beneficial having 100 intellect actually being during damage. So when you actually go back down to do a, you know, the ad clearing fight before going to damage again, you then have half your super, 3/4 of your super back because of the intellect regen, as well as just doing damage to the boss. So that's the first damage loadout, and the thing we change here on the mods is we put 3 surges on, gives us a 22% damage increase, and then we put time dilation on, which increases the armor charge decay. It has a longer duration, so you have a longer time doing surges. That's the difference, is just 3 surges and time dilation. Everything else stays the same. Moving on to the first damage loadout. Lunafactions. I'm the support warlock. I'm generally going to be our last one to come off Well of Radiance. Lunafaction boots. 100 intellect, 100 result, we've got Lunas on. I'm sure everybody by now, if you're watching this sort of video, you are familiar with Lunafactions. If you're not, ask a question in the comments. Siphons, everything stays the same. The only thing we change, 3 surge mods, double time dilation, the 100 intellect. You'll see here in a second when I go over the other builds, I'll show you how everything matches so that no matter what you swap to, you'll always have your super. You'll never lose it as long as everything matches. For the second damage loadout, we're going to be moving on to Rain of Fires. This is a really good for burst damage fights. Run 3 surges. And if you're on well, you'll have an Echo Stash. You can make a dodge and reload your GL, your rocket, whatever it may be, really quickly and get straight back to damage, especially in a burst fight. So that covers that one. As you can see, I'll quickly show you the the mods, there you go. Surges, time dilations, all the same stuff. Right, this one is a little bit of a new one that we weren't going to bring in, but now, well, if Radiance has been cooked, we are bringing in a Stag Rift Warlock for damage. Now, Stag gives us extra DR when in... Oh, look at that. I got an incomplete match. Nobody tell him. Nobody, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Incomplete match. I didn't do it. I promise. I didn't leave. Just trying to get my XP, man. Stag Warlock. Back to Stag Warlock. I'm sorry about that. Rifts grant damage reduction. You know, you can pop a rift and get extra DR. It's worth having. We don't know how the fights are going to go in the raid. It's literally there as a oh shit moment. Not going to lie. We could do with a stag. We could do with some extra DR. Let's do it. So, that's why I've got that set up. As you can see, it's just a damage loadout, 100 until like 100 refill. The 3 surges, turbo time dilation. It's as simple as that. And that literally closes out the final loadout that I'm bringing in. So that covers everything that we're going to want for the raid race on a Warlock. Hopefully this helps you guys if you're wanting to know what loadouts I'm taking in, or even if you just got an interest of what I'm running. If you have any questions about any of the loadouts, anything at all, whether you want to know, you know, what weapons to maybe bring in or anything like that, because we're not going to cover weapons in this, because that would just make the video a whole lot longer. Join my Discord. Link will be in the description below. Ask the questions in the Destiny 2 general section in there. You can ask all the questions you want, and I'll be happy to help. And honestly, my community will be happy to help as well. We've got a great community. We will be doing like community raid days the whole of next week when to get those week 1 clears for people who aren't doing contest mode. So make sure you join up on the Discord. Let's game. Let's game together, YouTube. It's be good to meet some of your faces over on the Twitch channel. Like I said, Twitch Rivals events as well tomorrow. Make sure you pull up the tab, grab them exclusive emblems from the event. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what loadouts you're taking in. What's your favorite part of Final Shape so far? And I will see you in the next one, fam. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.